Hey, thank you for joining us today. Happy Easter. Wow. This is not the Easter any of us would have wanted, but it's the Easter that we have. More importantly, though, this can actually be the best Easter ever. More on that later. When I think about Easter, I kind of have two mindsets. I have when I was a kid mindset, and then I have I'm a dad mindset. But before we go into some of my Easter memories, we got a short video, some thoughts from Shannon and Gracie. They're going to tell us a little bit about what Easter means to them.
What Easter means to me is celebrating the resurrection of Christ and spending time with my family. I also just love the Easter traditions that we have, like going to my grandma's house. She makes super good food and she works really hard. Going to church on Easter morning and seeing all the new faces, just worshiping God, everyone just worshiping God together. I love to do like the dying eggs, and egg hunts. And my favorite one is Easter baskets because there's candy in there and I really like candy. And yeah, that's what Easter means to me. Just a lot of celebration and spending time with my family.
Hi everyone, my name is Shannon, and Easter is important to me because it really just brings my family closer again, like throughout the year, because a lot of my cousins have all moved to different states for college, or they just have settled somewhere else, and it's really important for me to see them all again. We always have brunch at my grandma's house, so that's just a great time for me. And also, of course, just celebrating the resurrection of Jesus. And it's also really fun to see one of my little sisters have so much fun with all the Easter eggs and like the Easter bunny and all of that stuff, and it's just a great time of the year.
Oh, wow. Those are great. Once again, that was Shannon Murray and Gracie Clark. I hope you saw our Easter promotional videos on YouTube and Facebook. And I want to say thanks to everybody who contributed to those. Joel Eitoven, Nick Vargas, Josie Clark, Emily and Danielle Ewert. Who else was there? Eden Maccabee, and then of course Shannon and Gracie. We have one more, but I'm going to save that for later. Kind of like how we all save Cadbury cream eggs and Reese's peanut butter eggs on Easter. Which one is your favorite? I'm going to have to go with gotta go Cadbury cream egg. That's probably the better one. I hope I angered you. So, I noticed some similarities in what Shannon and Gracie both mentioned Easter means to them. And not in any particular order here, but candy, baskets, eggs, food, family, Jesus. So that's what Easter really means to them. Now, I think for all of us, it's pretty much those same things. Now, I know when I was a kid, man, I loved Easter. You wake up on Easter in a good mood. You know you've got a basket coming. And that basket is going to have some eggs in it. It's going to have some candy in it and hopefully some better stuff too. I mean, some presents, you know. After that, there's going to be an egg hunt. So for me growing up in Denver, my mom would hide eggs either outside if the weather was good in Denver or inside if the weather wasn't as good. And then you do the Easter egg hunt. Then if Easter was a graph, it takes a dip down because then you had to put on the itchy scratchy suit. You know the suit I'm talking about. The one that you probably only wear like twice a year, 3 times a year, a funeral, a wedding, and for Easter. And you don't really like it, and you don't feel comfortable in it, but mom's like, no, there's gonna be pictures, you gotta look nice. And she puts extra hairspray in your hair and gel, and it just looks like a helmet kind of. But anyway, so then you go to church, and church is okay. Church is maybe even fun. I kind of had good church memories. Then came brunch buffet. We would go in Denver to this hotel that was in downtown Denver. And they put on this brunch buffet, Easter buffet, brunch, whatever. They had a live band, they had the Easter bunny, there'd be a long line and you stand in line and then you sit down on the Easter bunny's knee and you get the picture, and they had amazing food. After that you go home and I think everybody pretty much takes a nap. After the nap, then of course, it's maybe you watch something Jesus-y, maybe you don't, I don't know. Little homework, laundry, whatever, and then it's to bed. It's a good day. Easter should be a good day. This is going to be an Easter unlike any that we've ever had, though. I'm going to make the statement that basically Easter today is not going to be that different than the day you had yesterday or the day you're going to have tomorrow. You're probably sitting on your couch right now. Maybe you're laying in your bed and you're watching this. You might be wearing the same outfit you've been wearing for an indeterminate number of days. By the way, I've been getting some calls and texts and messages from parents. They want you to shower. Just kidding. I haven't gotten any of those calls or texts, but you should shower. It's okay. Maybe you got the basket. I'm hoping you got a basket today. I'm hoping there were still some eggs. I heard there were some egg shortages, so maybe you didn't get to do the egg hunt. Getting together with family might be tough. There's not going to be any eating out. Some families are going to do it. Some families aren't going to do it. I'm not going to judge either way. So this is going to look a lot different, though, than what normally Easter would normally look like. There's not going to be church. There's not going to be the itchy suit. But I'm going to make a statement. I want you to think a little bit about that. This could be the best Easter ever. This should be the best Easter ever. Because it's not about what we do on Easter. It's what was done for us on Easter. It's not about the bunny, the basket, the eggs, the food, the family. It's not about those things. Now, let me make sure you understand my heart. My family, we're going to include all those things today. Both my kids, even though one's like in college and the other one's a high school senior, they're going to get baskets. They got them this morning. They're still going to get little presents as much as what we can do in this place and time. There's still going to be eggs if we can find any in the grocery store. There's going to be family. There's going to be a big meal. All those things are going to be included. So I'm not suggesting this morning that those things should not be included. What I am suggesting, though, is that we need to take a deeper dive. We need to take a deeper look at what Easter is really about, because it's not about what we do. It's what was done for us in an empty tomb outside of Jerusalem. Jesus was arrested, tortured, put on trial, put to death, and then 3 days later he rose again. The tomb was empty. That's what Easter is all about. Maybe sometimes we kind of lose our Easter focus. Maybe because there's so much going on, we kind of forget what Easter's really all about. Maybe we need an Easter Eve. With Christmas, we have Christmas Eve. So before Christmas even starts, a lot of people go to church and you sing and you hear a teaching, and it kind of puts the focus where the focus really should be, the birth of our Savior. Maybe we need Easter Eve. Maybe we need to go to church on Easter Eve and put the focus back where it belongs, the empty tomb. Maybe we should all just go find an empty cave and be like, yes, empty tomb. I got a video submission, actually, that really speaks to what Easter was really about. Lucas Maccabee. Let's see what Lucas Maccabee had to say about it.
Hi, my name is Lucas Maccabee, and Easter means a lot to me because, I get to be there with my family and I get to have a really nice brunch with all of them. But even better is that Jesus was resurrected, which proves that there's life after death and sins are forgivable, and that every life is cherished by God, which means that if you die and you believe in Jesus, you will most surely go to heaven.
Lucas, man, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was poignant and perfectly stated. Thank you so much, buddy. So it's not about overcomplicating our relationship with God. I made that point last week on Palm Sunday. We overcomplicate what happens on Easter. And that's why this should be the best Easter ever. Because there's less going on. Our focus, our attention can and should be on one thing. What was done for us by Jesus. So it's not about what we do on Easter. It's not about the baskets, the candy, the meals, all those things which are great. It's about something that was done for us. And that's where our focus should be. And that's why this can be the best Easter ever. Because we can take a deeper dive with that. And we can really think about it. It can resonate with our soul in a way that never has before. And that can and should change our lives. Now, I want to read from Matthew chapter 28. Each of the Gospels talks about the resurrection and then what took place after. I encourage you, you probably have time to read all four accounts. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'm going to read Matthew's account, 10 verses, the shortest one for the sake of what we're doing here this morning. But I want you to take a look at Luke's, Mark's, and John's on your own and read them, because each are fantastic. Each are unique. Each one has different characteristics and different things involved, because Jesus appeared at different places and times and different people. So each of them wrote what they saw and experienced. And I want you to read those on your own. But we're going to read Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 10. It says, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to view the tomb. Suddenly there was a violent earthquake because an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and approached the tomb. He rolled back the stone and was sitting on it. I love that, just sitting on the stone. His appearance was like lightning, and his robe was as white as snow. See, that's the grand entrance right there. The guards were so shaken from fear of him that they became like dead men. The angel told the women, "Don't be afraid, because I know you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He's not here, for he has been resurrected, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead. In fact, he is going ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there. Listen, I have told you." So departing quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, they ran to tell the disciples the news. Just then, Jesus met them and he said, "Good morning." They came and they took hold of his feet and they worshiped him. Jesus told them, "Don't be afraid. Go tell my brothers to leave for Galilee, for they will see me there." This is the most impactful moment in human history. There is nothing we can do that outshines that moment. All we have to do is accept it and believe in it and let it change our lives. And that's why this canon should be the best Easter ever. Now, before I finish up, there was 3 things as I read through all 4 accounts that really jumped out at me. And I just want to share them with you guys quickly. The first one is that Jesus arrived without fanfare. You know, you think about Jesus, you think about after the resurrection, the appearances he made. He had every right to show up with a host of angels playing trumpets and lightning and just amazing fanfare. He had the right to make a grand entrance. Kind of like those boxers, the sports teams. Kramer on Seinfeld always walked in, came in and made a big entrance in scenes. But he didn't. How did Jesus appear to people? Humbly. There were times when they didn't even recognize who he was. He came, according to what he says in John 6:38, "I came down from heaven not to do my will, but the will of him who sent me." We can and should be inspired by Jesus' humility. When he appeared to people after the resurrection, he did so humbly and without fanfare, without making a grand entrance, which he was entitled to do. The second thing that really jumped out at me is that Jesus arrived precisely when he meant to. I can't help. I'm a Lord of the Rings geek. I love Lord of the Rings. I love J.R.R. Tolkien. There's a quote from Fellowship of the Ring. Gandalf sitting and talking to Frodo. And Gandalf says, "A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to." Jesus does the same thing. If you read those 4 gospel accounts of the world that took place after the resurrection, the people, places, and things and times and place where he arrived, he wasn't early, he wasn't late, he arrived precisely when he meant to. A great example of that can be found in Luke chapter 24, the 2 disciples going from Jerusalem to Emmaus. And they're on this road, and a guy walks up to them and just starts engaging them in conversation. And he finds out quickly that they were talking about Jesus' arrest, the trial, torture, execution, and resurrection. Now, the guy was actually Jesus. Spoiler alert. And this is pretty cool because if Jesus had arrived earlier on their walk, when they were still in Jerusalem or just leaving Jerusalem, no way that they're talking about those things. Because the gospel accounts tell us the disciples were deathly afraid. They thought they were next, that Jesus was just the first step and that the authorities were going to come for all of them next. So there's no way they would have been talking about Jesus. But on the middle of the road and then between the Jerusalem and Emmaus, they were willing to open up and to talk. Jesus' timing was impeccable. As I look back at my life, I see the same thing happen. He's never late. He's never early. He arrives precisely when he means to. And the same is true for all of us, if we let him. This could be the best Easter ever, because this could be the Easter when you say, "Jesus, I'm going to let you arrive impeccably, exactly when you want to in my life." Surrendering that to him. The third thing that really jumped out at me, and the last thing, was that it's all so supernatural. As a dad, I went through those times with Aiden and Annalise. Aiden's a senior at Damani. Annalise is 20 now, almost 21. I went through those stages when they were young. Why? How? Why? How? They wanted to understand. I got it. I understood that. And it was fine. I thought they would grow out of it. Nope. In adolescence, same things. As young adults, same things. Annalise as an adult, same thing. We all have this quest for knowledge. We want to know how and why. And a lot of people spend their entire life striving for those things. We can't explain the supernatural that took place that day. We cannot understand or explain how a body that was dead and decaying for 3 days in a tomb came back to life. We can't explain how Thomas was able to touch the wounds in Jesus' side, wrists, ankles. We can't explain that. We can't explain how, when the disciples and their friends were meeting in locked rooms and locked houses because they were fearful that they were next for arrest, trial, torture, execution, that Jesus just appeared in these places. It's supernatural. And guess what? You know what? I love that. I don't want to love and worship and serve a God that I can explain the way I would, I don't know, a book, a comic book, a movie, a TV show, the way I can explain my friends and family, because they're just like me. They're human. I love the fact that I love and worship and serve a God who is the author of what's supernatural. The author of all that's supernatural is God. And what took place is truly supernatural. And so I find comfort and understanding in that in a way that I never will anything else. And that's what I hope all of us find this Easter, which can help make it the best Easter ever. Whew. So, hey, as we finish up, I really want to encourage you. Think about the humility Jesus showed in coming down, John 6:38, to fulfill his Father's will. And that after what took place with the empty tomb and the resurrection, he appeared humbly to people. The second thing I want us all to think about is the fact that he doesn't arrive early, he doesn't arrive late, he arrives precisely when he means to. And then the third thing I want us all to think about is that we can't explain it. It is supernatural. And that's okay. That's more than okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's perfect. And I hope you have the best Easter ever. God bless.